Hi, I'm Nina and welcome. Today I want to show you how I colored Ochako Uraraka. I found this beautiful artwork of her, done by Yoko Akiyama, in the My Hero Academia Team Up Mission manga, where it was used as cover art for Mission 37. I redrew Ochako on a DIN A2 paper sheet because I love the big size for my artworks. I did the line art with a brown Copic Multiliner to make the lines look softer. For coloring, I will use the Faber Castell Polychromos and will show you the exact color name and number code in the video when using the color. Enjoy the coloring. Let's start. I always start with the skin first. For this, I start with the shadows because it's the darkest shade for the skin. I always use my colors very carefully and don't press it too much on the paper. Otherwise, I can't draw the lighter colors above it. Coloring the skin is mostly very time consuming, so I made the video a little bit faster so you can see some process. Before layering the next color on top, I blend the colored part with a Q-tip. The color will look smoother in the end. For the next step, I use a lighter shade and draw it all over the already color-rich shadow parts. To blend the color very well in the end, I let the color fade to the part which will be lighter and has no shadows. I also colored parts with the lighter shade where I set no shadows, so it will look like the shadows fade into light. This will look softer and more friendly in the end. I repeated this technique for the whole skin area and blended it again with the Q-tip before using the next color. At last I used the lightest shade and colored the rest of the skin part. It's also important to draw over the shadows again, so the three colors blend well in the end. For the highlights, I left some space where I used less color, so you can see where the light touches her skin and we have some contrast to the shadows. Blending is important again. For big spaces, I always use a cotton pad. In my opinion, I colored the nose too dark, so I used my rubber to erase some highlight. Ochako always has these cute blush spots on her cheeks and I wanted them to blend in. For that I carefully layered a mix of orange and pink on the spots under her eyes and blended the color in between until I got a cute peach shade. For the eyes, I used a dark brown shade and colored the outer circle and let the color fade again to the middle and blended it. After this, I used a nice warm brown and filled the rest of the iris completely. Then I did some shadows for the rest of the eye with grey, and after blending, I covered it with white. The highlights I did with my Jelly Roll pen. At last I drew over the upper line with dark brown, so the eye will look softer. For the hair I used the same coloring procedure, coloring the shadows first, starting with a dark brown shade. I let the color fade again to the light parts and blend it in the end. In my opinion, brown and other dark colors are very tricky to use. Since it's already a dark color, I had to check my color palette for a lighter brown shade that will fit and not covers the shadows. With this shade I colored the whole hair part and left some space for highlights. The highlight I did with a golden brown shade, so her hair gets a brown touch. I also colored some parts that look too cold for me. Then I erased a few highlights again where I put too much color on it and drew an ivory shade for a warm color touch above it. The dress I colored with warm grey tones only. First I used a dark grey to spot the shadows and again let fade the color. After blending, I used the light grey for the rest of the shadows and nearly colored the whole dress with it. For the big space, I used a cotton pad for blending and erased some color smearing before covering the whole dress area with white. That will mix the grey shades perfectly with each other. I continued with the grey shades for the wings. I took the darkest warm grey shade I own and colored the darkest shadows of the wings. Again, I used the cotton pad for blending. Then I took the lightest grey shade and drew it on top. I didn't want the shadows to be too dark on the wings. After blending the color for a last time, I drew an ivory shade on top to get a contrast to the dress and a nice warm look. And here is the finished drawing. I'm very happy with the outcome. As an extra, I added a little bit of glitter spray paint and framed it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have further questions or any ideas for a new drawing, let me know in the comments. Please leave a like and subscribe if you liked the video. See you next time. Bye!